Hi, it's me again. I'm Dr. Mary Beth Crane from Foot and Ankle Associates of North Texas, your marathon running Ironman triathlete podiatrist. And today we want to talk about tendonitis because it's that time of year again and everyone is calling me saying, I think I pulled a tendon. I think I have a problem. What can I do right now before I come into the office? Do I really need to be seen? Well, number one, if you think that you have a tendon injury, you first have to think, how do I know it's a tendon and not a stress fracture? So tendonitis tends to warm up, meaning if you walk 5 to 10 minutes before you run, it tends to get a little bit better, and as you start to run again, it gets a little bit better and a little bit better. Tendonitis tends to almost completely go away after about the first mile when it's in the early stages. Now the flip side to that is a stress fracture continues to hurt through the whole time. It doesn't warm up, it hurts all day, it usually hurts quite a bit, and usually it's got the one finger x-ray exam, meaning if I can touch one finger to where it hurts and it hurts like heck right there, it's probably broken. Tendonitis, on the other hand, tends to be over a broader period, a broader area, and along, of course, a tendon. But since most of you don't know where your tendons are, except for the big ones, it's good to have that rule of thumb. When you think you have tendonitis, you want to look at that area and say, is it bruised? Is it swollen? Is it red? Because if it's bruised, swollen, or red, you may have actually torn something and then you need to come in immediately. Go visit your favorite podiatrist. Do not stop, go. Do not collect $200. Show up and have them take a look. Now, say it's just a little bit swollen and it's a little bit sore, but it warms up and you're like, nah, I'm pretty sure I just have a little bit of tendonitis. Most commonly, it's going to be along the Achilles or it's going to be along the peroneals, which are on the outside of your foot. Now, these things, basically, we want to ice 15 to 20 minutes at least twice a day. We want to slow down, which means relative rest. That doesn't mean that you have to stop running completely. It means that you have to slow down your running, cut down your intensity, cut down your duration, and in some cases, cut down completely. Relative rest means we get on a bike or an elliptical or we do something else. It doesn't mean that we have to completely stop. The other thing we need to do is probably add some anti-inflammatories. They come in multiple different flavors, everything from your ibuprofen to your naproxen to some topical anti-inflammatories that are popular on the market now. Now, if you have a medical reason that you can't take anti-inflammatories, listen to your doctor. Don't just pop it. And remember, Tylenol has no anti-inflammatory effect. It really only helps with the discomfort. So we're icing, we're resting, we're taking an anti-inflammatory, and a little bit of compression helps. So an ACE bandage or a compression sleeve, even compression socks if you're spending a lot of time on your feet, can be very helpful. Now, if you have tendonitis and that pain doesn't go away after about a week of doing rest, ice, those kinds of things, then you probably should still go visit your favorite podiatrist. The other thing you need to think about is, why did this happen? Because tendonitis just doesn't occur spontaneously because God has a sense of humor. It happens because of one of usually two or three things. Number one is too much, too soon, too fast, meaning that I really pushed the envelope. I decided that 10% increase per week didn't pertain to me. Yes, we've all done it. Come on, I've done it myself. And I hurt myself. So too much, too soon, too fast is that I increased my intensity or I increased my duration too quickly or I increased both at the same time. Remember that if you're going to increase how long you're running, you really can't increase how fast you're running at the same time. That's a common mistake, especially in veteran marathoners. The second thing we need to think about is our equipment. If we're spending a lot of time on our bike, is our bike fit well? If we're spending a lot of time running, how's our running shoes? Remember that your running shoes, the good rule of thumb is that they should be replaced every 500 miles or 6 months, whichever comes first, not when they're completely worn out and you can see all the way to the midsole through the bottom. Oftentimes the midsole is worn out before the outsole is actually worn out. So you need to keep track. And if you're running more than 30 or 40 miles a week, you're really marathon training, you're really going out there and doing something long, then you really should have 2 pairs of shoes that you're going back and forth, because it often takes more than 24 hours for the midsole of the running shoe to actually rebound. So think about it. If you're running day after day after day in the same pair of shoes, they're pretty dead by the 3rd or 4th day. So you really should have 2 pairs of shoes that you kind of go back and forth with and replace those every 500 miles or so. Now, if you're really heavy or if you have really bad biomechanics like many of us do, then they probably need to be replaced sooner. So listen to your body about that. Now, say you haven't done too much too soon, too fast. Your equipment's pretty good. Your shoes aren't worn out. What else could it be? This is what I call life happens. let's face it, we're not, professional runners. We usually have a day job. Even if we don't have a day job, we're running after kids or we're doing something on a regular basis. So it's not like we get time to take a nap at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, or at least most of us. So we have to think about what is happening in my life to increase my stress that may have brought on this tendonitis. Am I moving? Am I carrying boxes? Have I started a new job that I'm spending more time on my feet? Is it just, holiday time of year and I'm spending way more time on my feet doing stuff, shopping, whatever it is. So you need to think about the fact that that actually has something to do with it as well. So if you have tendonitis and you think that it's mild and you treat it for 5 to 7 days and it's not getting any better, give us a call, come in, let's take a look, because I hate for you to walk around with a stress fracture or a torn tendon that's going to keep you out for months. And remember, too much, too soon, too fast is the most common reason we hurt ourselves. That's all from now. If you want to see more, go to www.myrundoc.com and I'm there. Have a great day.